All right, folks, welcome to our introduction to Jira Service Management webinar. Today, we're going to kind of go over some of the key features of Jira Service Management with respect to the Jira core product and some of the new features that Atlassian has released for the new Jira Service Management product. As many of you probably know, they just recently changed the name of Jira Service Desk to Jira Service Management, and with that comes a bunch of changes and a bunch of additional features. So we're going to go through some of those as well. So the first question we often get is, and real quick, as you have questions, please submit them through the Q&A side of the Zoom call. And at the end of the webinar, I will go over as many of those questions as I can get to. If you have a more complex question that you want to have some more discussion on, please feel free to reach out to the Expium team. It's team@expium.com, and we can set up a call with you and go through any questions you may have. So, all right. So the first question we typically get is, there we go. All right, sorry, getting set up. All right, first question we get is, what is Jira Service Management? So Jira Service Management is Jira's or Atlassian's support and ticketing tool. It's geared toward a customer-facing service desk that can receive tickets through a portal and bring them into the agent side, into the Jira core product side, manage them through a workflow, and complete those tickets and resolve those tickets as efficiently as possible. A lot of key features in Jira Service Management allows for supporting and tracking customer success. It has the ability to connect to internal and external knowledge bases. Is the ability to maintain SLAs at various levels, prioritize and manage requests, clean and very customizable customer portal, and does have the same built-in automation that Jira features, allowing for the ability to automate repetitive tasks, but also has some unique automation unique to Jira Service Desk, some additional commands, things like that streamline that process of creating a ticket out in the portal and resolving it back on the agent side. So some of the new Jira Service Management features that are really key are incident management with the addition of Opsgenie features in the core Jira Service Management product. The tiers of Opsgenie, if you're at the free version of Service Desk versus the standard premium or enterprise levels, Opsgenie, you have greater features and greater capabilities as you go up those tiers, those cloud tiers. However, in all of them, you do have some Opsgenie features that allow for incident management. I'll show you where that lives later on in the product. We also have dramatically increased change management capabilities as well as CI/CD integrations. So the whole goal here is to make it a full, and it is ITIL certified, so give it a full change management suite to allow for competition with other change management products out in the industry, and it connects directly to your CI/CD programs like Bitbucket or Bamboo pipelines, things like Bitbucket pipelines or Bamboo, things like that, and connects all of that back to your core Jira product through the service management features. And then we've got a new service registry feature, so additional service management, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later once we get into the product. And so a little bit about Expium. Expium's role in this: we are a Platinum Solutions partner, which is the highest level of partner with Atlassian. We have done dozens of service management integrations and implementations, and just at the moment I'm working on 3 active ones with 3 different customers, and I really enjoy service management, which is why I do this webinar. And it's one of all of our consultants are Jira administrative certified. So we've gone through ACP 100 or 500 or 200, or depending on your certifications. But all of our consultants have 2 or more certifications. And so we bring that to bear. We've kind of got four key services. First is training, like this webinar. We do both these webinars, but also we do in-person or online Jira boot camps, as well as user academies, Confluence boot camps, things like that. And so training has become a really big part of our business, because we feel like when people know how to use the product, they tend to be more successful. So, and then we do handle licensing. We're an Atlassian solution partner, so we handle and facilitate all licensing. That includes allowing for annual licensing, co-terming of multiple licenses, and things like that. We are a consulting firm, so I am a consultant, and all of our trainers are full-time consultants. And so we do consulting for any of the Atlassian suite products. And then we are a solutions company in that we have a sister company that's a software development company. And so we build full custom integrations, custom apps for enterprise level, as well as just connection apps using API integration, things like that, between Jira or other Atlassian products and external products. So just a little bit about us. We work with a lot of companies, large and small. We've had 4 or 5 user instances and 40,000 user instances. So we get to work with a large variety of customers, and we really enjoy that variety. So, all right, let's dig into the Jira Service Management. So off the bat, where I want to start is actually out on the customer side. So we're going to go ahead and step out to the portal. So the first thing we look at is an individual service portal for the IT Service Desk. And so at the top level, we've got groups or categories of requests. And this allows you to group requests under common categories, in this case, computer requests, logins and accounts, applications, servers, infrastructure, or you can have a common requests category. When we click into any of these categories, we then see a list of requests. And so each of these requests can have unique fields and be part of a unique issue type and so on. So up above this, when we go up a level, we can go to our main IT service desk. We can also go up to the Help Center. And the Help Center is what we kind of call a portal of portals. And essentially, when you're up at the Help Center, you will see all of the service desks below the Help Center in a hierarchy here. And so today we're going to be working with this IT service desk. But we do find that people use Jira Service Management for both HR service management as well as facilities service management and everything in between. And so, all right. So in the IT service management, let's say we're going to go to create a ticket we'll set up VPN in the office. So the key thing with this is all of these fields are customizable, just like any field in Jira can be put out on this screen. As well, these tickets can also be filtered by those. And so when we go ahead and create a ticket, need help setting up VPN. And so a couple things here, you'll notice that it has searched the knowledge base, and we'll talk more about this later and how to control this. And so we can see some little knowledge base articles popping in here. But I'm going to go ahead and ignore those for now. We're going to come back to it. And we'll go ahead and create this ticket. So once you've created this ticket as a customer, first of all, you'll be moved to this issue detail view, where you have a few options as a customer. You can add additional comments. Over here on the right, you can turn off and on notifications. You can choose to, if you're given this permission, escalate the ticket. You can go ahead and resolve this issue. If you manage to fix it yourself after you created the ticket, you can go ahead and drop this ticket off the Teams board so you won't have to worry about it. Or if you realize it's not an issue that you thought it was, you can go ahead and cancel the request there. And then below that, you can actually share this ticket with other people in your organization. So you can punch in a name or an email address and send that out, or you can actually share it with your entire organization so that anybody can see it. And if it's some particularly interesting ticket or something like that. Up here in the top right, you have this little request dropdown where it'll show all the requests that you've created. You can choose created by me or created by anyone. You can choose any status, whether it's open or closed, or you can just search by request type. So if I want to find, any of my setup VPN to the office tickets, okay, here's that ticket, and you can go in here and access that ticket from that link. If you are an agent, you have the ability to click out into this little issue key and the breadcrumbs up at the top. And this will actually take you into the agent side if you have the permissions to be here. And you'll be able to view this ticket in the view screen on the agent side of the world. And now we're looking at it from the agent side. A couple additional things here. There are a couple other ways to submit tickets. These fall in this channels category here. You can both submit a ticket through email if you choose to set that up. In this case, it's support@expiumdemo.atlassian.net. And you can copy that email and send it to somebody and say they can submit a ticket through here. And you can customize and set up that email handler to create specific types of tickets based on wording or based on other rules. And so it's pretty useful one a lot of organizations use. You have the help center, of course, which we already showed, where you can create tickets manually as a customer, which this is by far the most reliable method. And so we tend to encourage companies to utilize the email option as little as possible, because once you use email, you introduce, email server errors, things like that. You have less control over your tickets. And if you have really, really high priority or very sensitive tickets being created, oftentimes it's good to just create those directly in a help center from an InfoSec perspective. And then at the bottom, we've got this little widget. And this widget is kind of a nifty tool that can be configured to live in a web page. And so you can configure the widget. It'll spit out a set of either, here I can go ahead and just go ahead and do this, save. And so once you say, what do I need? Oh, enable widget. Oh, it's just saying that I can't use it without setting up some other settings in my project. But essentially what it allows for is you to copy and paste HTML into a web page, and your widget will then pop up in the web page, and you can kind of change background pattern or various things up here at the top. You can change the text. You can choose which request type is created through here. We used this for a long time to collect inquiries. When people were interested in working with Expium, they would submit a ticket through this little widget on our website. It worked really, really well, and allows you to put any fields you want on here, including attachments, things like that. And then, of course, you're going to want to collect the contact email. So we go jump back out to our project here. So once we're on the agent side, we can see a lot of changes. If you're used to the standard Jira Service Desk tool, there's a lot of additional buttons over here on the left side. We're going to go through these real quick. So at the very top, we've got our standard queues. These are going to be our ticket queues that you can customize, add new queues if you have the permissions to. The most useful ones are typically all the open tickets and then all of my tickets. These are going to be tickets that are assigned to you. And of course, these are all customizable. And you can create new queues that are sorted by issue type or sorted by request type or things like that. And then below that, we've got some of these out-of-the-box queues, specifically surrounding issue types. So if we want to see all of the open service requests, we can take a look at those. Well, both of these fall in that service desk service request category, but only one of them is unassigned. So as a manager, you'd want to see all the unassigned service requests, because that means nobody's working on it. And so this allows you to quickly see at a glance any tickets that are high priority and need to be being worked on, or you can see any of my service requests. And this is going to be the same. This is going to show anybody's tickets that clicks on it. It's based on current user, not based on a specific user. Below that, we've got our incident lists. These are going to be any open incidents. Luckily, we don't have any at the moment. Or you can see any incidents that were resolved in the last 7 days. That's a pretty common one. And then, of course, you can create new queues underneath this incidents category. And then below that, we've got our major incidents. And these are going to show any major incidents that are either ongoing or past major incidents. And so it allows you to kind of prioritize there. Same thing with problems. We can see any open problems and any that are assigned to us, as well as changes. And we can take a look at any open changes here. Okay. And yep. So that's all of our base queues. And of course, these are all customizable. You can add further categories, things like that, to further delineate your work and allow people to view anything assigned to them, or as a manager, view anything that's currently unassigned. Below that, we've got some additional buttons we didn't have before. The first of these is services. So this is that service registry that we talked about, and this is where we can then manage active services and build out a service hierarchy. And so in this case, we've just got a few in here as a sample. Everything from the email server to Jira Service Desk as a product, to Jira Software as a product, to payroll. And in each of these, if we click in here, we can add relationships in this service. And if we do that, we could say this depends on, email server, and you can begin to add tiers of relationship. And you can use this service ID to access Opsgenie and look for any incidents. Then you can set up incident responders who are assigned to incidents with this specific product. So if payroll goes down, You can select an Opsgenie team member who is going to be the default responder. You can set up custom approvers for any services as far as changes to those services and things like that, which this is a new, just brand new feature, this being the ability to add approvers to a service. And then you can link these services to specific projects. If you have a payroll management project or something like that, you can link that to a project or to a repo in Bitbucket or another product through integration. So a lot of features that really got rolled out here that bring this into a whole new segment of functionality. So really encourage you guys to get into a demo instance, set up a demo instance for yourselves, and play around with these features because there's a lot of useful stuff in here. So below services, we have this new feature called alerts. Now this is going to take us out to Opsgenie. And Opsgenie, if you don't know, is basically an incident management product that gives you alerts for when products go down or things like that. And out here, we can then manage our alerts, see any open alerts, closed ones, not seeing things like that, and actually manage these alerts real time. And so this is now has become a default feature or included feature in the Jira Service Management world. And so definitely you're going to want to leverage some of that. It may save you a lot of money from paying for an external incident management tool. So highly recommend check that out. Try it out here, and then and see what you think. So back in our agent side portal here, our agent side system, below that we've got one more section which is called on call. And so this is another newer feature that's been added to allow service management teams to manage on-call schedules. So right now, I'm not part of any on-call schedules because there aren't any created. But you could have schedules here that are managed by your service desk manager, basically allowing you to set up on-call schedules for 24-hour service, things like that, depending on your SLAs and times of service, stuff like that. So another cool feature that rolls this in really nicely to the core Jira Service Management product. So below that, we've got our knowledge section. So this is where we have both our knowledge base and our reporting. In the knowledge base, this is going to be specifically for self-help articles or articles detailing past changes or detailing past incidents or problems or things like that. And so as an agent, these are often really useful because you may get a ticket where like, oh, I can't quite remember how to fix that. Well, I can go check the knowledge base, search through all the knowledge base articles. Maybe it's, oh, somebody's having an issue with their VPN. So I'll go search for VPN articles. Well, here's a VPN troubleshooting article. Check that out, look into it, see if it fixes it. Oh, here we go. That worked. Great. So if I go back to my project, additionally, I go to queues, all the tickets. So this guy needs help setting up a VPN. I can go here and in the comments here, should be able to, this is the, here we go. It's the new issue view. So they're over here. So this is why we don't do live. You shouldn't do live demos, right? So over here on the right, we've got a few articles that show up as being related to this ticket. Well, what it's doing is it's keyword searching any knowledge bases that are tied to this project and sticking those articles over here just in case they help. Well, in this case, they need help setting up a VPN. So I can go to this set up VPN from home. I can go to this share as comment button, and now it's going to set a link in here. And I can say, have you tried this article? So now instead of me getting tied up and working on this ticket, I can send them to this self-help article and ask if they've checked that out. So now if I go back to, let me go ahead and punch out of here. And now if I go to, there should be a way to view this in the, they changed, oh man, I love when they change stuff on the new issue view. So if I go back out to, say I go back out to the portal, jump out here, and then if I go to my requests and I open up my VPN request that I just submitted, now I'll see this little comment here and I can click on the link to this article and it'll pop open that article and I can look at, oh, okay, that's the steps to set up my VPN. I'll go through those steps. If it does help, I can click yes. And that feedback will actually go back into the system as a deflected ticket, essentially. So then I can go here and I can go to help setting up. Okay, that article worked. I can click resolve and I'm all good. Article helped. Thank you. Boom. Resolve the issue as the customer. Done. So So pretty nifty little method there. A little integration there with the knowledge base. The knowledge base is one of the most powerful tools that you can use with your Jira Service Management product because it allows you to deflect tickets, and that rolls directly into this reporting side. So when we go into this reporting side, we've got a few different reports that are specific to our Jira Service Management product. So one of those is a workload report. This is going to look at all the agents that can work in your project, and it's going to look at any issues that they have assigned to them, how many they have in progress, and what their statuses are, things like that. This allows for a manager to quickly see if the workload is slanted toward a specific person, or if they need to redistribute work, things like that. Below that, we've got a satisfaction survey. And so basically, whenever a ticket gets closed, you can set it up to where a satisfaction survey gets sent out to the user. They can submit their level of satisfaction, and you can look at your satisfaction rating, and that'll help you kind of guide your service desk, improve your service desk, things like that. Below that, we've got a request deflected. And so we can see now I have one request deflected in the portal, and that's because I used an article. I said it was helpful, and it deflected a request. And then you can see how many articles have been viewed out in the portal. And this helps you judge how useful your knowledge base articles are, and whether or not they are accomplishing what you need them to accomplish, if there's places where you need to improve your knowledge base articles, things like that. And then down here, you can get a day-by-day assessment of how many requests are being deflected in the portal and how many articles are being viewed on that day in the portal. So. And then lastly, in these default service management reports, we've got a request resolved. So here we go. Today we have one request was resolved today. We have no requests that were resolved without an article. Then we have a request deflected in the portal. And so we have basically, was it resolved with an article? And then was the request deflected? And so if there was no work done on it except that article, then it's considered a deflected request. So just some nifty stuff there, and allows you to reduce some of the load on your agents and allow them to work on higher priority issues. So definitely maintaining a healthy knowledge base is a really, really important part to keeping your service desk healthy for your agents. Making their lives easier will always make your service desk more productive. So, all right, we jump back over here. And then below that, we've got a couple more sections. We've got channels, which we talked about, our other methods for submitting tickets. And then below that, we have our customers list. And so we can look here, we can see, okay, what customers are in the instance. We can add organizations, which are groupings of customers. We can go ahead and create an organization that's, maybe we'll just call it an Expium organization, create a new organization, add. Now we've got an organization. This allows us to add users into this order. So add a customer. So I'm going to add myself. Oops, hotkeys are good. Add customer. Connor McNeil at expium.com. Enter. Boom. And so now I'm added as a customer in this particular organization. And so when I go to submit a ticket out in the portal, or I go to a ticket that I've already submitted, I'll go here. I also have this option to now share it with an organization. So I can share it with Expium because it's an organization that I am currently in. So now it's going to share with any users that are in that organization and nobody else. And so that's a really nice way to silo your organizations. Even if you have a bunch of different organizations using the same service desk, you can silo those organizations and keep visibility, cross visibility to sensitive information from occurring. So a lot of ways you can set up your service desk to provide good security and information security. So just a couple of features there. And then you can, of course, delete these organizations or edit them at will, change the name, add users, things like that. Below that, we have the ability to invite team members. So if you have the permissions to do so, you can invite other service desk agents to work on this service desk. But they have to have an agent license for Jira Service Management. So keep that in mind. You can just punch in an email address. It'll shoot them an email. They can click on it, come into the service management, or hear this service desk and help triage tickets, things like that. Below that, we have our standard, capability to add shortcuts to the sidebar, which is common to all Jira software abilities. But you can go ahead and add links to like a SharePoint site here, You could add links to a Confluence page. You could add links to whatever you want here, or to a home website, to allow your agents to have a quick link to go somewhere, depending on where that may be. It may be a documentation site or something like that. But that can be added here in the shortcuts section. So, all right. So that kind of covers the agent side of the world. And this is kind of where most agents are going to be living and working on tickets. But down here at the bottom, we're going to dig through kind of the more project admin side of the Jira Service Management tool. So back in here, you'll see if you use Jira, you'll be familiar with some of these sections. Details is going to show you kind of the general details of the project, your project name, your project key, things like that. And I should probably add in that for Jira Service Management, a service desk or service portal is the same as is just an additional service management project. So if we go out here to our help center, we'll see that there's 3 individual service desks. Well, each of these is another service management project in Jira. And so each of these is an additional project, which means their visibility can be managed as an individual project. So you could set it up where certain customers can only see one of these service desks. So even if they come up here to the help center, they still will not see the HR or facilities service desk if they shouldn't be able to. And so it's a good way to silo. If you have external and internal customers, you may have an external service desk that faces your external customers, vendors, things like that. And then you may have an internal IT service desk, which supports your agents, supports your internal divisions and company and things like that. So you can segment those, allow specific visibility to specific service desks, and that's all done in the project administration settings, which is what we're looking at now. So below that, we have our people section, and this is where we're going to manage that user access based on specific users or groups. And so in this case, all site admins are automatically administrators. Steve added himself in here as a user, and then we've got some trusted user permissions if you have the trusted user role, things like that. But this allows us to add agents or users to come in here and be able to see tickets, work on tickets, things like that. And then below that, we've got our basic summary section where we're going to see all of the issue types we have associated, workflows, screens, notifications, permissions, all that stuff is going to live in here, as well as components, our component list and versions, things like that. So that's pretty standard for a Jira project. Below that is where it begins to get a little bit different. So when we get into the issue type section, this is pretty common. We're used to this. This is our issue type list. But we also have this request types section. And this is where we manage all of the request types that customers can see out on the portal. Every single request type can be individually edited. You can add fields different for each individual request. So if we click in here to set a VPN to the office, we can now edit what fields are visible on here. So we have quite a few fields that can be brought up there. And these are going to be all the fields that are currently on that screen. We could add, this is set up VPN, but let's go to an incident one. Let's go to incidents on the left. So for reporting a system problem, we might want a few more fields. And you'll notice this already has affected services field. And this is going to pull from those services we looked at earlier. We've got our urgency field and we've got our impact field. And this is going to calculate a priority for us out in the service desk. Up at the top here, we can look at the request form. So these are the things that customers are going to see out on the request form. They're going to see summarize the problem, describe what happened and how it occurred, affected services, attachments, how urgently does it need to be fixed. This is going to connect to that urgency field. And then how big of an impact is this problem to you or your organization. So when you click on these, you'll notice you can put whatever description in here you want, but it connects to this issue field urgency. And so what that looks like out on the portal is if I go to IT Service Desk, and I go to common requests, report a system problem, you'll see that I get these nice clean names here, giving a little bit more clarity to the customer about what they're answering. And so the key here is you want to be as intuitive as you can with the customer and make sure that when they click in here, they know exactly what they need to put in these fields. The worst thing is when you have a really vague ticket form and you really don't know, okay, where do I put the urgency? Where do I actually describe this thing? And so, it's really good to be as clear and as concise as possible with your field descriptions and make it really, really clear what information needs to be placed in these. And then it's really cool because that service registry now shows up out here in this affected services dropdown. And so you can actually select those affected services and those will show up. So if we say Jira Jira software won't, or let's just say is broken. Be simple. Try to log in, comma, got a 404. Oh, that's not. Got a 404. It's your software, blah, blah, blah. We can add attachments. We can say urgency. Pretty critical. And it's extensive and widespread. So we'll go ahead and we'll share with the Expium organization. And we'll go ahead and create this ticket. So this is a pretty high priority ticket, right? This is a big deal. If Jira software is down, that's what most of the company is using to work their tickets. So if we jump in here, what we're going to see is that we've got basically our urgency and our extensive, widespread impacts are showing up here. And then it's linked to a service, which if we go down here, we should see if that service field is not on our view screen. However, we can go up here to create major incident, and this will actually access our Opsgenie functionality to link it to that service. We can throw in a critical priority, severity 0, and create a major incident. And so now we have a major incident created, linked major incident showing up here. Jira software is down, and we jump over here to the Opsgenie side, and now we can see that incident being managed over in the Opsgenie world. It's a major incident. We can go to the incident command center. We can go ahead and see, we can start to investigate potential causes, see impact to servers. All of these features are fairly new to Jira Service Management. So if you're using another tool, like specifically this is designed to combat ServiceNow, and we have a lot of customers moving from ServiceNow to Jira Service Management, and actually one currently, and two or three last year, specifically coming from ServiceNow to Service Management. And that process is becoming more and more common, and features like this just allow it to happen quicker and quicker, because this begins to replace a lot of that functionality that you see in the ServiceNow world for a lot less money and a lot better streamlined, a lot cleaner, and living in cloud, of course, which is probably the greatest part of this. So just some cool stuff there. And then once we're on the Opsgenie side, we can go ahead and look at all of the active alerts. We can jump around in this Opsgenie section here, things like that, and we can close out of that. And so if we now go back over here, we go to our services list. Oh, not alerts. Go to services, and we go into this Jira software service. We can go ahead, and if we had a Opsgenie team set up here, it would automatically assign somebody to this incident over here in the major incident section. There'd be an automatic assignee from the Opsgenie team that would be diving in and investigating this outage. And so pretty useful functions. And of course, with automation can be further customized using automation for Jira and things like that. So I don't want to dive too deep into the weeds there, so I'll jump more into back into the admin side here. So that kind of collects some of those request type sections where we can customize fields. We can add additional request types. Again, you want it to be as intuitive as possible to the customer. And so what we try to do is name our request types as specifically as possible. So we have fix an account problem, and we have get a guest Wi-Fi account. Well, this is an ultra specific name for a request, but it just feeds the exact same issue type, which is the service request issue type. And so all of these are feeding basically the same issue type. And so they all have the same workflow and all of that, but we want it to be as clear as possible for the customer where they need to click. And then we want it to be as obvious for the agent as possible what they actually need help with and what's actually going on. So keep that in mind. You want to be as granular and as intuitive as possible out here on your portal. All right, let's jump back out here. Below that, we've got our change management section. We talked a little bit about this earlier, where we have these additional change management capabilities built into Service Management now. This includes deployment pipelines that include Bitbucket pipelines, Jenkins, Circle CI, all that stuff. And any other CI/CD product that you want to use can be linked in here, both through custom integration as well as this automatic tool. Below that, we've got our service management. We can connect services to our change management process, and then also change management automations. There's some specific automations surrounding change management that will allow you to kind of speed up the CI/CD process, the change management process, and all of that. So, and all of that lives in this change management section. Below that, we've got some specific customer permissions. This allows us to determine who can send requests in, and whether it's anybody on the web. This makes that portal completely public, or we can go ahead and lock that down. Go customers added by agents and admins. So in this case, only customers in those specific organizations or added to this portal will be able to access our service desk, which is what we usually want. However, if you have a really, really wide-reaching portal or wide-reaching product, if you're like a credit card company or a bank or something like that, where you have people that you don't want to be manually adding to customer lists, then you might want to add this to anyone on the web and allow people to create accounts when they log in. Now, customer sharing, you also may want to lock down. So this allows customers to search for any other customer within their organization, or you can allow customers to search for other customers within their project or organizations, or only specifically by email address, if they know the exact email address. This allows you to kind of protect the information of your customers who might be external to the organization or product or project. And so it's that guy. And then below that, we've got lots of language support. This allows for translation abilities inside the product, as well as selections for different languages. You can add in language packs and things like that. So something, if you're an international company, something to really keep in mind and potentially utilize as you're building out your service desk. All right. Below that, we've got our portal settings. This is going to allow us to change kind of our portal configuration, look and feel, the name of the portal, introduction text, things like that. And then also we can add announcements. And you can allow agents to add announcements to the portal as well. Then next to that, we've got our portal groups. And this allows us to change the groupings of request types out on the portal. So we can have that. So if we feel like this common requests group is just not great, we can go ahead and drop that out. We can drop this group out, and now they'll need to go into more granular groups. I don't tend to use the common request or recommend using a common request category because nobody knows what's in that common request category. So they may click on that, look in there and go, there's nothing in here that I want. And then they got to go back and find the right group for them. Kind of recommend just being more clear about the groups, explaining, having good descriptions in these summary fields that allows customers to very quickly find the group that they need. Then of course you can create additional groups. You can customize the names of any of these groups or delete, and then you can add what requests are included in these groups. And requests can be included in multiple groups, but you've got to make sure that all requests are represented out here on the portal. Below that, we have our emailed requests settings. This is how we basically determine what email is triaging these accounts. You can connect that to a Google email, Microsoft, or any other email client. But by default, it'll create for you a support account that'll begin managing those emails. Below that, we've got our customer notification settings. And with this one, it can be good to sometimes turn a lot of these off and reduce notifications, because if customers start getting tons of notifications every time they create a ticket, it may cause them to send all those notifications to a folder, and then they're not going to be receiving those notifications when they need to. So if you turn down some of these notifications, it can help with better response from customers. And then, of course, you can add templates to your emails and customize these notification templates. So below that, we've got our widget settings, which we talked about, which again, this is controlled by, you have to allow any user to submit a request without logging in. This is basically requires a login-free portal, which can be good, can be bad. It's up to you guys how you want to manage that. If you want to have a wide open portal, they do have spam management filters, things like that are constantly working. So they do a good job of blocking any out of organization requests. So keep that in mind too. We've got our satisfaction survey settings where we can basically customize this little survey that pops out, and people can fill this in, and it constantly is collecting that feedback into our feedback report. Below that, we've got our knowledge base settings. So this is kind of one of the more critical areas of the administration side, where we can control the specifics of our articles, knowledge base articles, and whether or not they are searchable in the service desk. So if we have an IT service desk knowledge base and we say we're looking at our portal and we want, okay, get IT help, we really don't need that to search the knowledge base, we can go ahead and turn that off. So this now when they go to create an IT, like get IT help, it will not search the knowledge base. However, sometimes we want to only search specific articles. And in this case, we can use labels. And so if we get a guest Wi-Fi account, we're only going to search for the Wi-Fi label. And set up a VPN to the office, we're only going to search for the VPN label. And so if we go into the second page, we've got some report system problem, things like that. These are going to search for anything with the troubleshooting label on them, because these are basically for system problems or broken hardware. And so the way this kind of looks out in the portal, if we jump out to our portal side, channels and help center. And so when we open up say a computer request, we'll say report broken hardware. And so now I'm going to go ahead and search for Wi-Fi is broken. Okay, so this is only going to search for articles with the troubleshooting label. So the Wi-Fi troubleshooting shows up right here. However, if I go back to, let's see, let me jump back to the logins and accounts, and I search for guest Wi-Fi account. So need to set up Wi-Fi account. Well, now this one is going to search for anything with that Wi-Fi label. It's also going to be grabbing this Wi-Fi troubleshooting, but it's not going to grab anything else besides that, because it's searching for that Wi-Fi label. And so if we look at these articles over in the knowledge base, I can click on this link, jump into Confluence, and look at the knowledge base. And we can see on each of these pages that each of them have labels. And so we add these labels once it loads for me here. There it is. So we can have these labels down here in the bottom right. So you'll see this has the troubleshooting and Wi-Fi labels. And so this article is going to show up for both the requests that are specifically looking for troubleshooting labels and for Wi-Fi labels. But if I go to set up VPN to work from home, it only has the VPN label. So it will not, so if I search for one that's searching for a VPN, so in this case, looks like set up VPN to the office is only looking for VPN articles. Then I can go to set up VPN to the office. And now, help setting up VPN. It will only see, or it will see both set up VPN to work from home and VPN troubleshooting. Whereas when we've submitted a problem request, it only grabbed the VPN troubleshooting because it was only looking for the troubleshooting label. So a little tedious, but extremely useful functionality here to keep your service desk healthy and to search through your knowledge base articles. So we'll go ahead and close out of these guys. All right. One other new feature of Jira Service Management is the ability to link multiple spaces. So up here, you'll have this link space section where you can actually link multiple knowledge bases to this service desk. It used to be you can only have one link to this service desk. Now you can link multiple knowledge bases and search for articles through multiple knowledge bases. And that's a really, really useful functionality that we've been asking for a while. And it's cool to see that finally rolled out. So go ahead and unlink that guy. So some cool stuff there. And then we can go into the settings section, which will take us over to the space settings for the knowledge base space that we're looking at, where we can adjust access permissions, things like that. If somebody can't see articles for some reason, we can go ahead and make sure that they have the permissions they need, things like that, directly from this knowledge base section. So cool. So that's knowledge base summary. So below that, we've got this SLAs section. So SLAs, service level agreements, basically commitment to either resolving or responding to a ticket in a certain amount of time. So out of the box with this template project, we've got a few different SLAs. Time to resolution, which is going to be how long it takes to resolve this ticket. Time to first response, which is going to look for how long did it take the agent to get back to the customer, things like that. And so within these SLAs, we can actually edit those. We can determine what the time goals are. And then so for each of these time goals, we can set a specific JQL query. So for tickets in the category incidents, we have a 4-hour time goal for resolution. For tickets in the category service requests, it's 8 hours. And then everything else, there's no target. And so then down here, we can tell it when to start counting. So when an issue is created or the resolution on an issue is cleared, it'll start this SLA. We have no conditions for when it pauses, but then we have a finish counting time when the resolution gets set. And so over here, you'll see that we can actually change what calendar is being used. So you can either use the sample 9 to 5 or 24/7 calendar, or you can come up here to this calendar section and you can actually create your own calendar, and you can import a calendar from Outlook or something like that, and you can set holidays, all kinds of good stuff here, and it allows you to basically build a custom calendar for your company and use that to determine your service intervals, things like that, and your SLAs. So then, of course, we can add custom SLAs. Name them whatever you want. You can have them start, pause, and finish on whatever statuses you want, things like that. So for time to first response, of course, they stop counting when a comment comes back from the customer, or goes to the customer, or it enters a status waiting for customer, things like that. So these are the out of the box ones that are pretty commonly used. The way these show up in the portal or in the agent side is you'll see these SLAs counting over here on the right. And so when this one was created, it's an incident, right? And so it falls under the incident SLA. So you'll see it only has 4 hours to be resolved. Whereas this one was a service request that I created earlier, and it falls under the 8-hour time frame. So it's still got 6.5 hours left before it needs to be resolved, things like that. And so you'll see this little clock, and then you'll begin to see it'll turn red when you're close to the SLA or over the SLA. So it gives you a little warning, and then you can sort by basically the shortest time to resolution on the SLA, which allows you to look for the most critical issues first. So that's SLAs. Below that, we've got the last session we're going to kind of talk about here is automation. So the automation in the service desk or service management projects, there's some out-of-the-box automation that gets created. Basically, if a change management request is created, update the change type and risk. When deployment is completed, transition request accordingly. So there's some little project rules that get created here. And you'll notice this is actually the automation for Jira product that got purchased by Atlassian not too long ago. And so what they've done is they've rolled it into the cloud products automatically for free. And so you get all of this automation functions included in the Jira Service Management cloud product as well. On server, it is a standalone. So you do have to still purchase it as a standalone, but for cloud, it's rolled in. And so it allows you to have all of this automation power in every single project you create. Now on the left side here, you'll see this legacy automation. It used to be that Jira Service Desk had its own automation capabilities. And so those came in the form of comment updates, reply status. And so what this means is when a customer would comment back, it would automatically switch to waiting for support. And then update Jira linked issues. This would allow you to update any Jira issues that were linked to this ticket automatically when it changed. And so these two are pretty common rules, but you could also create further automation. Now you'll see that legacy automation is going to be eventually replaced by automation, and they are going to automatically migrate all of that capability into the new automation rules section. So you don't really have to worry about anything there. It'll automatically be migrated into this automation for Jira product. So that's kind of the automation side of things. So it can be used for, well, I'll go ahead and show you. When you go to create a rule, I'm going to skip to her here. You can first select a trigger. When a field gets changed, assignee gets changed for all issue operations. Then you can add an action that gets taken based on that trigger. So you can go ahead and edit the issue, edit whatever assignee to copy from parent or something like that. This keeps somebody from changing the assignee to somebody that's not supposed to be or something like that. And the sky is absolutely the limit with this stuff. You can add conditions in there. You can choose where to add the conditions. You can do branches. So add component, add a branch. So you can basically have a if then or if else statement essentially, where if this, then it goes this path. If this one, it goes this path. And you can add further and further branches and have tons of different variety of capabilities here. So this can eliminate the need to pay for a more complex automation tool or more expensive automation tool separately from the marketplace to fulfill all your automation needs, things like that. So cool. And so that kind of covers the last main section that I'm going to talk about here with the Jira Service Management product. Do you guys have any questions? Please submit any questions to the Q&A section on the Zoom call. Let me go ahead and pull up our Q&A list. Looks like we got 4 questions. So we'll start at the top here. So Danielle asked, so let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and answer live. Here we go. Oh, I didn't, here, wait, I gotta go back and actually read it. So the new service management setup is aimed at internal service desks instead of previous Jira Service Desk would aim for external customers? No, so this this just allows you to manage further for both. So none of the capabilities of the external service desk is gone, and in fact they are also expanded to include incidents and things like that. All of that is expanded out for both external customers and internal customers. The only thing that dictates the difference there is simply customer access, how you set up customer access, group access, things like that, and organization access. So yeah, so all of that capability is all still there. But really a lot of the goals were to support DevOps organizations as well as compete with other change management products and ITIL certified products. So you're looking at like expanded IT service desk capabilities as well as other things. Mariana, what are the pros and cons if you compare this to ServiceNow? Big pros for a long time were a massive difference in cost, which has been reduced a little bit with the service management premium tier where you get, but the key there is you're getting a ton of added functionality. So it has increased the price a little bit because they're rolling in full incident management capabilities with Opsgenie, the enterprise level of Opsgenie, as well as all of the service registry functionalities, as well as unlimited automation capabilities and all of that. So the big benefits now are both cost to an extent, cloud access, so much easier to access and manage, and then the connection to the Jira, the core Jira product directly. And so if you're using Jira, this allows you to manage every single feature that was previously you were unable to do with Jira, now can be done with inside the Atlassian product suite. And so you get a lot of benefits there with as far as competition with a larger legacy product like ServiceNow, where speed and connectivity are the kind of the big benefits, as well as a much smoother interface for customers, and then a lot of automation, built-in automation. So those are kind of some pros. I think the cons are mostly being eliminated. We did have some for a while, like the inability to manage services and things like that, but now that that's in play, that kind of removed a lot of the concerns we used to have with migrating people from ServiceNow. And then the other is accessing external systems for data, which has also been overcome. So the ability to pull like configuration items out of a database or things like that is now internal to the Jira Service Management product. And so that's allowed us to not have to, when a customer asks us, well, can it do this? We're no longer at the point where we're saying no for features, and that's really cool. And so we're really excited to see that. And then additionally, Atlassian is going to be rolling in asset management tools into the base functions of Jira Service Management. So no longer will you have to have an external asset management tool. So that's going to be really cool, and that's coming really soon. So like really, really soon. So we're excited for that announcement. And once they kind of announced that it's coming, but they haven't announced the details of it. So I can't talk about it too much more. But I think you guys are going to really, if you're looking at Service Desk or Jira Service Management, I think it's going to be really, really useful for you in the future. So let's see. So from the customer portal view, you showed the option for the requester to cancel or resolve the issues. Where do you allow for this? And can that option be used by an external user or only for internal users? Okay, so this is going to be from the workflow side. So when you're looking at a workflow, you can go to, specifically a Jira Service Management workflow, you can go to any transition and allow it to be visible to the customer in the portal. And so I'll just show you this real fast because it's pretty simple one. So this is a super useful functionality to allow users to get rid of their own tickets. And so if you allow it to be shown in the portal, then anybody with customer portal access will be able to run those transitions. So keep that in mind. But only people that can view that particular request can close it. So if you have a public portal but it can only be shared within an organization or you turn off sharing completely, then you can essentially keep that from ever being an issue, because then you can't have external users or somebody that's not logged in transitioning somebody's ticket, if that makes sense. So if we go to any of our, we'll go to our service request workflow, click edit. And so when you're looking at a workflow for service management, I don't have permission to export the workflow. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not side admin. That's fine. All right, there we go. So now when we go to this resolve or close, we'll find the resolve transition. Come on. Cancel request. Oh, cancel request is fine too. So go ahead and click on cancel request. And so you'll notice this cancel request can come from a lot of different statuses. You'll see this little checkbox, which allows you to show the transition in the customer portal. And you can click configure, and you can basically say what resolution will be set on this transition and things like that. So this is a really useful thing. The key here is that workflow has to already be tied to a service management project. If it's only tied to a Jira project, you won't see that checkbox. But if it's tied to a Jira Service Management project, then you'll see this little checkbox here. So that's where that guy lives. Go ahead and discard draft here. Cool. And then Aaron, is it possible to make some request types visible to only specific group or customer? So inside a specific portal, all request types are typically going to be visible to all the customers. So when you want to silo different customers or specific groups of customers, the best way to do so is through multiple portals, and allow specific customer groups to access a different portal. And so that's the key there. Now you asked a second question right below that, which is it possible to make some knowledge-based articles visible to only specific groups of customers? Yes. Knowledge-based articles are controlled on an article by article basis. And so you can control access to specific, like sensitive information in articles that can only be viewed by certain users, student organizations, things like that. So yeah, absolutely. You can control knowledge-based article access. Like if you have a public-facing portal, but you do have some internal users that use it, you can allow only internal users to see your knowledge-based articles, and then you're never exposed to exposing sensitive information to the outside world. Yeah. So here, I'll go ahead and answer both of those here. So it's possible to integrate with an existing Active Directory? Yes, absolutely. Yep. Full Active Directory integration. Yep, absolutely. And you can set that up for both customers and for users, both. So you can manage your customer groups from your AD. We're already using Jira Service Desk a lot, wondering if you have any info on extra features and new best practices since the change to service management. Yeah, so there's a lot of new features, which we kind of went over here. Actually, Atlassian has a lot of good documentation surrounding the new Jira Service Management tool. And so as far as the new features, I would definitely go there, because they're going to be releasing that information the soonest. Because as soon as they release to the public, they're also going to be releasing articles surrounding the new features. As far as best practices go, most of the best practices are going to be pretty much the same from a portal perspective, but as far as your change management practices, that's going to fall under, that's going to be dependent on your organization, right? And so we don't typically, in webinars, we don't typically recommend best practices for some of the more specific granular objects, because different companies, different processes work for different companies better. So keeping in mind that what works for you may not work for another customer, things like that. That's part of what we do as far as the consulting side. So if you are interested as far as a more specific call with more questions, please feel free to reach out to the team at expium.com email, or submit a ticket on our website, expium.com, either one, and we can set up a call and talk through your system and kind of any questions that you have about issues, or if you really need more significant help, maybe do a really small consulting agreements, things like that. We're super flexible and we like to answer questions, so please feel free to ask questions from what you've seen here in email as well. So let's see, follow up. Resolve is a transition. I get that. Is the cancel option also a transition that you created? Yes, it is. So it's a cancel ticket cancel request was a transition. And so that shows up out there on the portal. Yep, absolutely. It's a transition on the workflow. Is there any chatbot function embedded in Jira Service Management? I believe they're bringing in a chat function, and that has not been integrated yet. But yes, it is on its way there. And then there's a ton of add-ons already in the marketplace that already function with Jira Service Management. And so I would, if you're looking for something right now, definitely go to the marketplace and look for chat functions. And I believe you can also embed those on a web page as well. See now that a status transition. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. All right. Any other questions from what we've gone over before we go ahead and call it? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining in. It's fun to go over this stuff with you, and appreciate you hanging around and asking some good questions. Please feel free to reach out to team@expium.com if you have any further questions, and our team can connect you to me or another consultant that's got time to get on a call with you or talk through or answer any questions via email that you may have. So thank you for joining, and we will catch you guys in the next webinar. Thanks.